Maybe some speeding on the road. Could be.
I'm with you on that.
I would definitely not steal wine in a supermarket because I have enough. I would guess it would be for speeding.
Hi, everyone. From 1Route, I'm Jeffrey Ross, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Alyssa Giles, and you're watching the 1Route RoundUp, the show that spotlights individuals making a positive difference in the telecom industry. Today, we have a special treat as we're joined by Fred Vonderwig and Paul Flanagan of Araxxe. Fred is currently the Chief Commercial Officer at Araxxe. He's previously been the Chief Commercial Officer at Mutual Solutions, Product Manager at Belgacom Mobile, and rumor has it, and Fred, you're going to have to tell us if this is true later, but rumor has it that he's also the owner of a wine selling and consultancy company. Paul is currently the product account manager at Araxxe. He's previously been the group head of business risk and bypass control at Digicel Group, billing and revenue assurance manager for Jazztel, director of revenue assurance fraud management at Zane, and vice president of revenue assurance at Cable and Wireless, amongst some other roles along the way. But it is obviously that these two gents have the background and experience to know how to combat fraud. Fred and Paul, we welcome you to the show. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All that being said, Fred, so do you have a wine consultancy business?
The answer is yes, absolutely. Already since about 10 years, so I'm now in the telco industry for a little more than 20 years. And we used to work only with computers, our brains, Excel, email, and all that. So I wanted to have something, which was little bit more laborious, so where you could work with your hands. And I think since 25 years, I'm a passionate wine lover from all over the world. So I started to follow wine courses, started to become part of a wine club, and then I was buying a lot of wine for myself, for my cellar, and started to get a lot of questions also from people. You are the expert when you buy something for yourself,
Right.
Also buy something for me. Then, of course, when you start buying and selling wine, you need your company. So I started to, I started up my own little wine company.
That's awesome. Well, next time we see each other, I need to get you a bottle of Jarhead Red. Jarhead Red is wine made by Marines here in the U.S. So,
okay.
I think you can clean with it as well. I don't know if it's safe. I'll give you a fair warning. It's like drinking ammonia, but it's fun.
Okay.
So what we like to do, gents, is every time we like to ask our guests, where in the world are you today? And Fred, we'll start with you.
Okay, so I'm actually based in Europe. So I'm in the center of Europe. I'm based in Belgium. So a very little tiny country in between Netherlands on the northern part. We have France on the south. And then we have on the east, we have Germany and the UK on the west side. So we're a pretty little territory in between all these countries.
It's beautiful. Paul, where are you at?
I'm in the beautiful city of Panama City in Panama. So a little way away from home, but I've been living here on and off for 20 years now. So it's really my home, yeah?
I like it.
Something that we always love to hear about is our guests' journey and kind of how they got to where they are today. So what got you guys into the telecom industry? Fred, we can start with you.
Okay, perfect. Well, the answer is also very clear. Basically nothing. I had absolutely no ambition to get into the telecoms industry. But so I studied economics, and then afterwards I did an MBA. And for our, let's say, end year project, I needed to do kind of an audit in a Belgian telco company, which was at that time it was called it's Orange. It's the current Orange Belgium.
Okay.
So I did an audit there, and I was always planning to, start working in the sales and marketing environment of fast-moving consumer goods. But then I realized, man, telecoms, it's really exciting. It's also somehow fast-moving. Technology is evolving almost, month after month. So after I finished my project, I applied for a first job, and I actually got hired by Base, which is the current Telenet in Belgium, and there I started to work on roaming. So basically signing agreements with other operators in foreign countries to allow customers to be able to call, send SMS in each other's countries. So that was my first role, signing roaming agreements, and afterwards really negotiating deals, preferential rates between my operator and then other operators in the world. So I did that during around 5 years. So first at Telenet, then I went to Belgacom Mobile, which is the incumbent in Belgium. And then afterwards, I got close friends with the CEO of a Belgian startup, which was Mutual Solutions at that time. So company was also specialized in fraud, wholesale, revenue assurance services based on test call generation. So I worked there for about 6 years until I was invited for a lunch with a French guy, which was which is still owner and CEO of Araxxe. And then I decided to move. So, and that's about I joined Araxxe in 2011-12. So it's also around 11, 12 years that I'm working now for Araxxe.
That's awesome. Well, thank goodness you met with that good French guy. Paul, how about you, sir?
So when I left school, I actually did an apprenticeship for a number of years, 4 years, as an electronics engineer. So I studied I did an apprenticeship as an electronics engineer for over 4 years. Then I moved into various technology roles in my city, in Newcastle, my home city, doing different jobs, in assembly of PCs and things like that. And I decided that, I wasn't going to get rich staying in my home city, So I thought I would move to London to make a lot of money, So I applied for different jobs in London, one of which was with Cable and Wireless.
Right.
So I went to Cable and Wireless and did a first interview and got called back for a second interview with a wonderful, wonderful guy who I learned a lot from, and I'll always appreciate for the rest of my life, A guy called Richard Bainbridge, who just happened to be from Newcastle,
There you go.
The same city. So I did the second interview with him, and we talked about football, and we talked about his brother who worked in a shipyard, which was just next to the office where I used to work in Newcastle. And we talked about lots of different things. And at the end of the interview, he said, I think you should come and work for me, So, and then 3 months later, after doing some initial training with Cable and Wireless in London, they put me on a plane and sent me to the Caribbean. And for the next 8 or 9 years, I traveled around the world working with Cable and Wireless. Initially, implementing their billing and customer care systems. So they had an internal system that they developed for all of their markets around the world. So we implemented their billing and customer care systems.
Okay.
And that was a great experience because it allowed me to learn so much about the industry, different markets, different regions, different places around the world. But I did everything, implementations from everywhere, from Turks and Caicos in the Caribbean to the Solomon Islands in the Pacific.
Yeah, Paul, I think our audience is gonna have a hard time feeling bad for all these these places that you've been. Turks and Caicos.
Well, I did make a mistake interview, I must admit, yeah, because one of the things we talked about was the Caribbean, yeah? And I said at the interview, you know, I will go anywhere in the world. And it was only months later that I realized after the interview, they'd spoken internally and they said, listen, we found the guy to go to Yemen, yeah? And this was just after the civil war between the North and South in Yemen, yeah? So,
there you go.
yeah.
So, hey, this is a off-topic question, but out of, in your opinion, is it Caribbean or is it pronounced Caribbean?
Caribbean. How would you pronounce it, Jeff?
It depends on if I'm talking about Pirates of the Caribbean or if I'm going to the Caribbean. That's fun, guys, and we appreciate that. So, Paul, I'm gonna stay with you for a bit, and so Araxxe does an awesome job at protecting against SIM-box fraud, SMS bypass, and I mean, obviously, Araxxe, y'all have all kinds of revenue assurance tools and some great stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you've been all over the Caribbean and elsewhere. Is there an area of the world that you have found to be more susceptible to the types of fraud y'all are combating more than others?
Obviously, from an interconnection fraud, from a SIM-box bypass point of view, there tends to be more fraud in developing countries where they tend to have higher termination rates. Yeah, so obviously, you know, if it costs 50 cents or 25 cents to terminate a minute of international traffic, and the local retail rate for a call is a penny or less, then the margins are extremely high, and you can generate profits, or the fraudsters can generate profits very, very quickly. Yeah. So I would say, you know, specifically in relation to some of the interconnect fraud issues that we look at, the higher termination rate countries tend to be the most impacted for obvious reasons. Yeah. The only thing I would add to that is, you know, there are some countries, particularly in Southeast Asia and places like that, where the traffic volumes, although the termination rates are quite low, the traffic volumes are so high. So rather than, you know, the frauds being based on high margins, they're just based on pure volumes and so on. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, from an interconnect fraud point of view, I'd say, you know, there's obviously a lot going on. One thing that I think operators should consider is not only looking at the inbound international traffic. So, you know, I spoke about the high termination rate countries having problems, yeah? But that also impacts countries that originate a lot of outbound international traffic, yeah? So if you think about it, you know, if I'm in the US and I'm calling to, let's say Nigeria or one of the Ghana, one of the high destination termination rate destination.
I'm trying to collect from the Prince of Nigeria. You know, I keep getting his emails that I haven't inherited. Yeah. I need to call him.
He hasn't paid you yet, no?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry to interrupt you. You keep going.
No, you know, just keep on talking to him. He'll come good eventually, yeah? But, you know, if you want to terminate to those, you have your traffic from the US, you want to terminate to those countries, what's going to happen? Your traffic is probably or possibly going to go through one of those bypass routes, yeah? Which has a major impact on your customer, yeah? So your customer, he's going to generate a call, so Jeff's calling me and it could be in Panama, say, yeah? But Jeff's number doesn't come up. A local Panamanian number that I don't know comes up. So what do? I don't take that call because I don't know who it is, yeah?
Right.
So it impacts the originating operator of ASL. Even you call 3 times and I say, okay, let me pick up this call. The quality of the service may be deteriorated, yeah? Because it's going through a grey route and so on. So I think, you know, one of the things that operators in the, let's call it the more developed countries, should think about is perhaps, you know, how they can better manage their traffic and what they can do to, address problems that they're facing that impact their customers. Yeah. So, like I said, the answer rate is deteriorated because of bypass. The AFR is deteriorated. The average call duration is deteriorated. So you actually make a lot less retail revenue because you get less calls completed and they don't last as long. Yeah.
Oh, no, that makes sense.
So,
Good points.
Something that maybe they should think about a little bit more. And certainly that's something that we've been doing some work in for different operators around the world over the last few months. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll let y'all brag about that some more here in a minute.
Okay. No problem.
Can y'all tell us a little bit more about A2P SMS bypass fraud and kind of what Araxxe is doing to help solve it?
Yeah, Fred, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, perfect. So A2P bypass fraud, this is indeed a hot topic in the market. We see more and more operators around the world which are really affected by A2P bypass fraud for several reasons. Let me maybe just highlight two. In some countries, it's just substituting voice bypass. In the past, there was a lot of voice bypass, which is now moving to A2P bypass. Why? Termination rates for A2P are still on the high end, and for voice tend to lower over time. So that's one reason. But the second reason, of course, is if you look at the evolution of the past 3-4 years, and especially post-COVID, how the world has changed due to COVID, people are just receiving more and more A2P messages. Either they have booked stuff online, either it's two-factor authentication. So there's a lot of, and people receive a lot of A2P messages. I remember like 2 years ago when we were making business cases, we were using, for example, people on average receive 4 A2P messages per month. If we now have to make business cases, you can easily use 10, 15, 20 messages a month because the market is really booming. So what is happening is that, of course, companies, just to name two, for example, Facebook or LinkedIn, they want to communicate with the customers, but in the end, they don't get retail revenues. I know their revenues come from advertising, but the end user of Facebook or Instagram doesn't pay for his or her account. If Facebook then needs to send messages to the customers, of course, they prefer to do it in an economic way, whereas on the other hand, operators are charging high termination rates for those messages. So that's why what you see a lot these days in the market is that mostly prime origins and aggregators are using gray routes to terminate those messages in the network. So from a customer point of view, it's first of all, this is of course the revenue impact for the operator. But on the other hand, from a customer experience point of view, if you receive a message from your bank, and rather than which is sent not through a short code, but with a UK long number, from a security point of view or customer experience point of view, it's not the best thing which could happen. And more operators are affected by that. So what have we done and how do we help operators fight A2P bypass is very straightforward. So all services that Araxxe is offering in the market are based on test event generation. So basically, we have developed a network of robots globally, and those robots, call it probes, test event generators, can send messages to our customers' network. So we use that network, of course, for voice bypass detection. But in the meantime, we've also connected, or we are able to let's say, stimulate sending of A2P messages from all major prime origins globally, as well as we have some connections to aggregators. And we perform tests towards the operator and see how the traffic is terminated. It's either through a legitimate route, it can be through gray route, there can be global title abuse, there can be pure SIM box on net, but also with competitive SIM cards. So, and we inform the operator in real time that they can take action and basically, make sure that termination revenues increase again in their network.
That's awesome. That's really cool. All right, one last, we'll call it a serious question or business related question. In a nutshell, from both of you, and Fred, we'll start with you. Just in a nutshell, what can you tell our audience? What is Araxxe doing best? You know, what is it that y'all do best, and when it comes to combating all these different types of fraud?
Okay. I think even if I did not expect this question, I can answer it straight away because that's our USP. I would say expert advice and customer service, because these days fraud is first of all evolving rapidly. It is different in each market, so you really need to adapt. There does not exist one service which fits for all. So we have really hired people with extensive experience in the market that are able to help our customers, independent of where they are in the world, with the right advice. And we do that because we really want to help our customers in their fight against fraud. So without any doubt, customer service and expert advice.
Nicely said. All right, Paul, see if you can top that one.
No, I think really important what Fred said. Some of the things that Fred said, I think the two or three things that we bring more or best to the marketplace are the expertise and the people that we have, and the knowledge that we have, having worked 18, 19 years as Araxxe in this area now, and then the infrastructure that we have. Obviously we have the worldwide infrastructure with the test generators or the robots around the world, and the resources that support those. So the access to SIM cards and routes and wholesale and wholesale market and so on. And obviously, from a people point of view, our operations team are very, very customer focused and so on. And so, we have the right people delivering the right services in the right way, I would say.
Well, y'all definitely have great people. There's no doubt about it. And I will definitely say one thing I find really neat about Araxxe is, there's a lot of great suppliers, vendors out there. One thing that I've noticed that really jumps out, besides the people, besides at least you two, is the fact that the coverage in Latin America, South America, and you don't always see that on a daily basis. So yeah, definitely the whole true global coverage. I'm just waiting to see when the Antarctica office will open up, and I think you'll get it all covered. But listen, gents, I think now you would both agree that when we all go to meetings and conferences, and it's like, Fred, you and I haven't had the chance to see each other in person in almost 4 years now, but you get to talking with people and you don't really truly get to know who they are in that brief moment. So the data scientists at the 1Route labs have come up with some questions. We keep fine tuning, the AI ML robots at work to fine tune that. Hopefully in the next 15 questions, we will be able to know who you two gentlemen truly are. Are you ready to take this 1Route questionnaire?
Absolutely. Curious to hear the question.
Paul's looking a little too nervous for me.
Wondering if we're going to get a report afterwards that, an analysis afterwards that says you're crazy or
Hey,
you're
here's
not.
the deal. You two are lucky because as we alternate questions, the other one gets time to think about it. So you get a little bit of a leg up on the compared to the other guests. But all right, Fred, we're gonna start with you. What is the best condiment?
The best condiment. I really adore just black pepper because you can put it on a lot of stuff. I adore steaks. A steak without black pepper is simply nothing. But it really gives your food that nice flavor that it needs. So I can, I like wine, so that means also I like good food. So I can name you plenty of condiments which I like, but I think the pure basic pepper.
Pepper's a good one though. That's a staple. Yeah, that's a good one. Paul, how about you?
I would say Dijon mustard. With a little Dijon mustard with your steak, yeah.
You like the spice to your mustard. You don't want just
you
don't want the vanilla of mustard.
No, having lived in the Caribbean and some African countries, spices are important. Yeah, so
that's good.
So say that you only have about 5 minutes in a grocery store. What would you buy? Paul, we'll start with you this time.
Wow. Wow.
I guess you load up on some Dijon. I don't.
So I guess it depends on my need at the time, but say I wanted to go and watch a movie, I would stock up with nice snacks and things like that. Yeah.
There you go.
Fred.
Seeing I'm a passionate wine lover, I would definitely buy that one bottle of wine that I don't have in my cellar yet.
Take you 5 minutes to find it, or you're going to get 5 minutes worth of that bottle. You just keep loading it up.
Absolutely.
All right, Fred, we're going to start with you. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's one of the words I also know in Spanish, in perro caliente. So although I'm not Spanish speaker, but for me it's a sandwich, yes.
All right. Fred, you're the first to agree with me there, but Paul, how about you?
I'd say it's bread and a filling, so it's sandwich, yeah.
Okay. Alyssa, we got some new ones.
I know.
Some people say the hinge. The hinge is what makes it not a sandwich, but bread, meat, bread. You're good.
Yeah.
I'd also call a hamburger a sandwich, though, too. I like it.
Do you have any hidden talents, Paul? We can start with you again this time.
Wow, so many.
They must be really hidden, Paul.
I sing wonderfully in the shower in the morning, yeah?
Okay.
Yes.
We should have done
People may disagree, but I think I sound good, yeah?
Yeah.
Always in the shower. I sound better in the car with the volume up.
That too, yeah.
Fred, what about you?
Yes, I also have a hidden talent. I'm growing up alpacas in my garden.
There you go. How many alpacas do you have?
For now, we have 2, but the third one is coming next week, actually. It's a little baby girl, about 6 months old, who's coming next week. Yeah,
that's exciting.
And then we'll start breeding. We'll start breeding with him.
That's fun.
Very cool.
Okay, Fred. If the police showed up at your door and arrested you without any reason, what would your friends and family assume you have done?
Maybe some speeding on the road. Could be.
I'm with you on that.
I would definitely not steal wine in a supermarket because I have enough. I would guess it would be for speeding.
Yeah. Paul, how about you?
Yeah, I think probably maybe not speeding, but another driving offense possibly. Yeah,
Some type of traffic violation.
yeah.
Okay, Paul, what was the last book that you read?
I tend to read factual books, and I'm particularly fond of good biographies or autobiographies. Yeah. So after I went to Cape Town last year, I decided that I'd like to know more about Nelson Mandela, and I bought the book Long Walk to Freedom. So I've been
all right,
reading
Paul,
that over the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
We're gonna have to get you connected with our guy, Callie. Callie served on Nelson Mandela's security team, so you need to ask him some questions. Yeah, Callie, he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Very cool. Fred, what about you?
Okay. So I'm also a passionate paddle tennis player. So the last book I read, and I'm actually still reading, is How to Improve My Paddle Tennis Skills.
That could serve
Love
as
it.
hidden talent as well.
Yeah.
All right, Fred. If in sporting events, individuals or teams, they'll come out to a walk-in song. If you could have any walk-in song anytime you entered a room or a meeting, what song would be played?
What song would be played?
Fred comes in the room. What are we going to be listening to?
I would say in the past, but I'm now talking about quite some time ago. I really adored the final countdown of Europe. You know that song?
I do.
It's great, to enter a room. But now I would say I'm more like electro. I really like Swedish House Mafia, and they have some great songs to enter a room. They have a couple of them.
There you go, Paul.
So you said like a sports entrance or something like that?
Like you walk into a room. What song is gonna be, if you had a band just playing behind you when you entered a room, when the luchadors come in?
Okay. So the song that plays when my football team walks out is called The Blade and
Not their
Races.
song. What's your song?
Yeah. Well, it's their song, so it's my song, yeah?
Okay.
Being a passionate football supporter, of course, yeah? So, it's a local song. It's called The Blade and Races, yeah? And it's played at all, like, the sporting events whenever a local star would enter the room, yeah?
Very nice. I like it.
Paul, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Today I would go to St. Lucia because my wife's there.
Listen, this is you're earning. Are you gonna have your wife watch this and say, "Hey"?
Yes, of course.
Just in case if Paul's wife is watching this, we did not tell him to say that.
Yeah. So my wife is actually St. Lucian. She's in St. Lucia at the moment, and I just love the Caribbean in general. I love the place. I love the people. And of all the islands, St. Lucia is my favorite. Yeah.
Good.
Very cool. Fred, where would you go?
For me, that's probably a very, very difficult question because I saw in my travel footprint that I think the past 10 years I've been on every continent in the world at least once per year. So I've visited a whole lot of countries already, but my favorite country without any doubt is Thailand.
There you go.
culture, food, temperature. It's amazing. So
Everything.
I go for Thailand.
Yeah.
Thailand.
Like
When
it.
you asked that question, Alyssa, I was going to say I'd love to go back to Yemen, but
Yeah.
I don't think you would have believed me, yeah?
I don't know. I agree with Fred. Thai food alone is fantastic, but Fred, I'm gonna take it back to music, but on the opposite side here, what is one song, if you could erase from music history, what is one song that you would erase that should never have been created?
Wow, one song that should never have been created. Hmm. That's really
That's a hard one.
yeah, that's a hard one. Oh.
I doubt the band will be watching this, so don't worry about getting
Yeah.
hopefully canceled.
I have no doubt. I have no doubts about that. I'm although I like Metallica, I'm not too much a big fan of the very hard work they had. So I'm more into the um the
You like their Black album the best?
yes yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, but that's because for me it's one of the greatest bands in history without any doubt. But personally, I don't like the harder work from the beginning. And I know that a lot of Metallica fans is just the opposite. So
I like the older stuff. When
okay.
they changed bass guitarists. Yeah. I don't know. I basically stick with the Black album personally, but that's sorry, I'll go off on that. Paul, we'll stop myself before I get canceled.
No worry. I had time to think about the answer, and still I couldn't come up with one specific song. But I'm probably the absolute opposite of you guys. Yeah. So anything that I would call heavy metal, the Metallica, the Iron Maiden, anything like that, I don't want to hear it. Yeah?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You don't like to listen to Slipknot, Psychosocial, or nothing.
No. Yeah, definitely not.
Paul, we'll start with you again. Do you collect anything?
I used to collect banknotes from around the world, yeah. So I had some wonderful banknotes from all kinds of strange places, including North and South Yemeni rials. But I passed them all on to my son, yeah. I also have a big collection of boxing magazines. Way back from the 1970s.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the 80s, I started collecting boxing magazines, and I just kept on collecting and collecting and collecting. Yeah. So
Very cool. I like it. Fred?
I think I have somehow something to do with with spirits and drinks because when I was young.
wine collection.
Well, no, when I was young, I started to collect spirits, but in those like very small bottles, which you can buy in shops. And I had, believe it or not, but I had close to 500 because I bought a lot myself.
Are they empty or are they still full?
No, they were all full. So, but people knew that I was collecting that. So when they went abroad, for example, they also offered me from time to time such a small bottle. So I decided to sell it when I married because my wife said, "Where the hell are we gonna put this in our house?" So that was almost impossible. So then I decided to sell off my collection. And then I started to collect wine, but this is let's say a pretty volatile collection because it goes up and it goes down from time to time.
And it takes up more space, Fred, yeah?
Well, that's right. If you run
Yeah,
out
but
of
I
space,
have plenty of space. I have
you got to change
plenty of
that.
space.
Okay, Fred, who would be your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher, you mean in terms of a name or a profession
Either
or?
it's just whoever you see as a teacher, either as a kid coming up or as an adult, whatever.
Okay.
We're gonna let you. It's your
I
answer. You
used
make it up however
okay.
you want.
Okay. Yeah. I used to play when I was young. I used to play tennis. So I started with tennis, and then afterwards I went to table tennis, and now I'm at paddle tennis. So and when I was young, I was a big fan of Andre Agassi. You know
Yeah.
he was really my idol. So he could have been my teacher at that time. You know, I was
Did you
also
ever cut your
wearing.
hair like his?
Well, my hair
Yeah.
was a bit difficult, but I had the same costumes. You know, what he was playing with.
Was it the
Yeah,
Umbros?
it was like the jean shorts with kind of like
Yeah.
fluo stuff.
Bright colors.
Yeah. So
Andre
he would
Agassi
have been,
was awesome.
without any doubt, my teacher.
I'm going. Paul and I are going with Andre Agassi. Current.
Yes. It's just the way I cut it, Jeff, yeah?
Yeah, that just was good to wash mine this morning. How about you, Paul?
I would say there's been 2 or 3 people over the years that have had a big influence on me, yeah? The first one I mentioned earlier, a guy called Richard Bainbridge, who was my first director at Cable and Wireless. And then I was actually, when I joined Cable and Wireless, I was actually the youngest expat in Cable and Wireless, yeah, at one time, yeah. So there was a couple of people that I worked with during that time that were kind of more experienced guys and took me under the wing and really helped me to, know how to adapt to different environments, know how to, I don't know if the right words behave, but how to really fit in different environments, yeah. And really, they taught me to appreciate and take something good away from all of the different countries that I've worked in. Take positive things away from, every country I've worked in. So I really appreciate those guys. Yeah.
Awesome. Paul, I'm going to ask you a question again first. What is the best candy bar in your opinion?
Best candy bar. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of candy bars, yeah? Probably a chocolate bar, like a nice Swiss chocolate bar, dark chocolate, yeah?
Okay. Yep. Fred, what about you?
Same for me, without any doubt. Belgium is known for beer, fries, and chocolate, so I'll definitely go for chocolate, but preferably with hazelnuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in trouble now. I said Swiss chocolate, not Belgian.
You forgot to say Belgian chocolate.
Yeah.
They're good waffles too.
Yes. True.
Fred, if you could start any kind of secret society, what would you start?
Wow, a secret society.
You could start like the alpaca secret society.
Oh. A secret society. Yeah, it would be like it would be small. It should be fun, with people from all over the world, because I really like mingling with other cultures. I think that's also one of the reasons, why I decided to take up an international position. So, traveling to countries, meeting people would, it really gives me energy. So if I could start my own society, rather than being in one country where people often have the same kind of thinking, I would really mix everything in one mini society, but definitely, with a lot of fun, some hard working, because I really like work hard, play hard. Yeah, fun, laughter,
It's,
peace, friendship. That would be, my
it sounds
ideal
like you're
world.
describing Araxxe. I think you've already created your not so secret society called Araxxe.
And what I'm missing and what it should definitely have is like a nice Caribbean beach, because we have our North Sea here, which is kind of like very tiny sea, always cold, gray, rainy. I would definitely, there needs to be a Caribbean sea, and preferably also some mountains to ski.
I like I'm joining your group.
Mhm.
Paul,
Yeah, welcome.
Paul, how about you?
It would be a secret. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's a clever answer. I like that. You have to come up with a handshake, though.
For sure. But no, I mean, I guess it wouldn't need to be a secret, but if putting together a group that can help people,
Yeah.
Particularly help young people develop, that's something that I'm really passionate about. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Would like more time to do more of. Yeah.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Particularly people in developing countries and things like that. That as you go around, you meet people in these countries that have so much ability and so little opportunity. So anything you can do to help those kinds of people is a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Very nice.
It's a great answer. Paul, what would you do if you lost your phone for the day?
I hate it when you ask me first, That would be fine. I can survive without my phone for the day. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fred might be a bit frustrated when I don't answer his calls or no, I don't think I'm so linked to my phone that I could survive without a day. Yeah. Obviously from a work point of view and an email point of view, hopefully it's a weekend. Yeah. There's less emails coming through.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I'd go out and buy a new phone. Yeah. And it'd be ready for the next day.
Okay. Fred, how about you?
So now I had some time to think. So the first thing I would say, what if I lost my phone? I would say I would buy a new one. But then I was thinking, no, if I lost my phone, I would be happy. I would be happy. One day, no emails, no phones, no kind of like opening of apps, social media. It would be great. I think we all use it. We all use it way too much.
Yeah, unfortunately, so it's very true.
Unfortunately,
but the problem is, Fred, if we sent you a message and you didn't reply within 15 minutes, we'd be worried. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the search party. All right, gentlemen. Last question, and Fred, we'll start with you. What brings you hope?
What brings me hope? Well, I would say I hope that the world can become a better place. It's challenging times these days, especially if you can imagine it when you live in Europe these days. But I really hope we go back to peace that we had before. So that really brings me hope. I really hope that people start realize that in the end, peace is the ultimate and most important thing in life. So
well said. Well said. Paul?
That's an easy answer for me. Yeah. My kids.
There you go.
And
you're really earning the brownie points today.
I'm just honest, yeah. Sometimes too honest, but no, I'm very proud of them. I think they'll do good things in the future. I think they'll be good people, and I think the way that they act and the way that they behave will be a positive thing, yeah, for the
Awesome.
people around them. So
That's fantastic. Well, gentlemen, you are both now known to whoever watches this video, but and Paul, your wife and kids will definitely watch this now, so they can hear you talk positively about them. But
more than once, Jeff.
all that's
Going to be on repeat.
All that's left to do now is, and Fred, we'll let you take this one. Look into the camera and tell the audience what is on the horizon for Araxxe.
What is on the horizon for Araxxe? Well, I hope for the company, that 23 can become a great year. We are launching quite some new interesting stuff for the operators. So we really hope that we can further help operators in reducing fraud and increasing correct billing in their network, because this is really what we try to do. Fraud is something which in an ideal world does not exist. So we really want to try and help operators to eliminate it from their network.
Awesome. Well said, gentlemen. Thank you so much. And as always, thank you to my co-host, Alyssa Giles. For all those that are watching, please make sure to like, subscribe, Insta, tweet, face, chat, whatever you do out there these days. But definitely subscribe to follow and keep up with episodes such as this one, where we are interviewing some of the greatest and brightest and just doing good, hard work to make our industry a better place. Fred, Paul, thank you again for your time. We really appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you, Alyssa and Jeff, for welcoming us. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's been great. It's been fun, yeah?
Too much fun. Until the next go around, we'll see you later.
Take care.